The table is being set for a future of explosive growth, explosive adoption, interoperability, and groundbreaking new financial products and liquidity services that were unimaginable just a few years ago.
Automated market makers on the XRP ledger could be a game changer, uniquely positioning it to leapfrog other DEXs.
So this is the secret sauce that David Schwartz has envisioned for the past 10 years when he said, I envision global pools of public liquidity that everyone can contribute to and draw off. That is exactly what is being built with this automated market maker into the actual XRP ledger software. So there's going to be many pools. There'll be the mainnet. There'll be every sidechain will have pools. And there'll be all different pairings. But they all tie back to the XRP ledger's order book. And that's where the arbitrage takes place. And this is private sidechains, public sidechains. So it unifies all the liquidity and the arbitrage by incentivizing liquidity providers with volatility that actually earns, and you turn that negative into a positive. You remove the volatility of holding a digital asset because now it's earning. And we're talking, this could be from down to retail DeFi applications that are built on top, to ODL and RippleNet, to other big use cases.
Now, another thing that happens is volatility. So external prices change, right? The price of XRP changes, the price of Bitcoin changes. That means the value of the assets the pool holds changes. And that drives up both arbitrager activity. There's only an opportunity to arbitrage if the price is out of whack. One source of the price being out of whack would be changes in the price. But also natural ledger activity, people making payments and offers. All of these things trade against the AMM instance, and the AMM makes a spread. But there's something else going on that's almost more exciting, which is volatility is harvested by the automated market maker. Normally, volatility just results in risk and a reduction in yield. But here, it's a gain in yield. The automated market maker actually implements a trading strategy that converts volatility into yield. And if you think about what an automated market maker does, when the price goes up, it sells, and when the price goes down, it buys. That strategy, if you imagine if you hold Apple stock and the price goes up and you sell, and then the price goes back down and you buy, you make a profit. If the price goes down and you buy and the price goes back up, you make a profit, and you sell, you make a profit. That's what an automated market maker does all day long.
And the LP token that the liquidity provider receives is tradable. So liquidity will stay in these pools as the LP token then can be used as collateral to borrow against and also traded. So it's a claim on those two assets. And the arbitragers are bidding for the right to arbitrage and paying with LP tokens that get burned. As they get burned, a small portion every time they arbitrage, that means there's less liquidity pool tokens in the pool. Everybody share who's staking liquidity of the two assets, they gain more of those two assets every time, a little. So if there's heavy volatility, that means the arbitragers have to be rebalancing the pool consistently, rapidly. So this tightens spreads and deepens liquidity. So it aligns everything together.
Because the pool sells this privilege, it should reap as its own profit a significant fraction of what the arbitrager would make. So the pool charges for arbitrage rights, and it does it using its own liquidity tokens as the currency by which you buy these arbitrage slots, and it destroys them when they're paid to the pool. So arbitragers who want those arbitrage slots have to acquire liquidity tokens either by putting money into the pool or buying them from other people, and then they're destroyed. And if there are fewer liquidity tokens outstanding, the value of each one goes up because it's a claim against the assets of the pool. Now,
And we'll see there'll be multiple different pools. So we'll have, for example, say an XRP USD pool that would be on one side chain, and say XRP USD in whatever the USD is, stablecoin, whatever stablecoin is. As long as it's the same pairing, it will get arbitrage, and it unifies it all together, and the main price will be the ledger. So when we said for years on now, we said it's a distributed liquidity network and exchange network. It always has been. It always has been from the beginning. And this is the final piece that's going to underpin. So this isn't like everybody else's automated market maker. It's built into the actual, it's going to be an amendment. So applications will be built on top of it. And all types, the whole financial ecosystem for XRP Ledger and the side chains. So side chains will rapidly spin up, and you'll see horizontal scaling from RippleNet, ODL, to DeFi, to all other types of use cases. And this is what to expect in the coming 6 to 12 months. Testing is beginning in October. Expect the amendment to be roughly around Q4 or Q1. And once this is implemented, this is what will allow potentially XRPL to leapfrog. And it's not just even just the mainnet, and it's not even just the token. We're talking about network of networks. This is every big network is going to have to do that. We're past the speculation. We're going to be past just the one chain to rule them all. You need a network of networks. And that's what Flare's doing with their multi-net of state connectors, what XRP Ledger is doing with the side chains. So we could have hundreds of different side chains, and it all connects to each other. That's what the X-Bridge and X-Claim are. Be in coordination with the automated market maker. So these two are going to be coming out at the same time.
Horizontal scalability is one way to do that. So the idea is this. Let's say you have a chain that has some huge capacity, 10,000 transactions per second, but you still want more than that. If you can horizontally create 100 such chains, and you can do 2-hop transactions, well, now your transaction throughput has gone way up. Yes, you need 2 transactions instead of 1, but you have the transaction capacity of all of these chains added together. So that horizontal scalability is big. And I think another important thing is the way that this is going to inspire developers. Developers will be able to innovate right at the blockchain layer. So when you build
side chains, they're already up and running, and they're just not connected to the XRP Ledger because the bridge mechanism isn't there, and it's been slightly redesigned. There'll be another, I'll cover that in another video. So I hope everyone understands how groundbreaking, like this is it. This is the secret sauce. This is the most impactful thing that you're ever going to see that's being built. But it's, I think, a little difficult to wrap, I think, everybody's heads around what it really means, because it's something that, yes, it's public, everyone will be able to tap into it, but it's going to be abstracted. Like the ultimate use case for it is, it's the underneath pipelines that handle all the liquidity and allow for tight spreads, but solve that chicken and egg problem. Because these crypto exchanges, that's a legacy design off-chain with an order book off-chain in a database. That was never going to facilitate enough liquidity to ever, there was never the intention, it was long-term. It was just to get it going with XRapid.
I think institutions will start to allocate, they start a little bit into this whole DeFi economy. And over time, I see literally DEXs, like for example, the XRP Ledger, that's actually the oldest DEX on a public blockchain. I see a decentralized exchange like this really powering enterprise use cases, even like for example, the XRP Ledger, that's actually the oldest DEX on a public blockchain. I see a decentralized exchange like this really powering enterprise use cases, even like on-demand liquidity, where we use regulated exchanges right now to facilitate cross-border payments.
Blockchain, I see a decentralized exchange like this really powering enterprise use cases, even like on-demand liquidity, where we use regulated exchanges right now to facilitate cross-border payments.
Now you're incentivizing these pools. Now let's keep in mind now, to speculate a little. If anyone, I'm sure many of you are familiar how Flare's distribution works. The pools release a certain amount based on certain conditions that are met. Let's see, what else releases on a monthly basis that we know of that has XRP?
It will be bolstered by incentive programs.
So if you look at how this all falls in place now and how that all develops, I'm not going to speculate, but I'm just going to speculate that it's a perfect way to, to be utilized to boost all of this.
It will be bolstered by incentive
And a
programs.
sort of secret sauce that will allow liquidity providers to get more of the profits normally lost to arbitrage. And it will be bolstered by incentive programs.
To be utilized to boost all of this. And it doesn't even need to be boosted, actually, because the LP tokens are going to underpin. Now, you could think of institutions using this, and you could think of compliance. As long as everyone in the pool is compliant, then everyone could operate. With the trust lines, it makes it very interesting. And this is the opportunity to leapfrog into the enterprise DeFi landscape that's coming. And while ETH2 goes through a merge right now and basically changes its engine at 30,000 feet, flying ahead plane, basically, that's what that's going through. XRP Ledger is getting a massive update and enhancements, all planned. So regardless of if the case was happening now or not, Hook's amendment is going to be a sidechain. The EVM sidechain that RippleX is building will be live. And that will allow for a ecosystem of DeFi to explode quickly, because these automated market makers, they're going to be a little different than your typical like Uniswaps or what you see on Flare and other networks, because it's built into the code. They'll be the actual at the code base. So I see it more as things will be, and applications will be able to like make really nice user interfaces so that it abstracts away all that clunky and impermanent loss. I know somebody's going to ask and ask about, but that's really just a loss of potential upside. But the pools can come unbalanced, and they see this all the time. And it's arbitrage that always is raiding the pools. So every time there's any arbitrage opportunity, they're taking it and taking it outside of like the ecosystem and going to exchanges. This is going to keep all the liquidity unified around these pools that are going to be on every different blockchain around the ledger of sidechains. And then also on private chains, and this is when you hear CBDC private ledger, we need to start thinking now sidechain. And I know some people are going to think, oh wait, if they have their own pool over there, it's going to have a different price with XRP. It's actually the exact opposite in every possible way. It's like the antithesis of the secret price that, David Schwartz is probably literally laughing at people. Like, knowing that he was going to release this and arbitrage was the secret sauce, the whole point is they have to have the aligned price. Like, they're incentivizing it. So that idea that there's some secret price is almost like ridiculous. So, it's going to be hard for some people to really grasp now of something that, there's a secret price. Now you're going to see the exact opposite of what you thought and speculated on is taking place. And this is why I think it's super important to stick to the facts. They're right in front of us. All this information is here, but it's not, it doesn't make the best headlines. It doesn't say JP Morgan this, JP Morgan that, or that. That stuff's irrelevant. It doesn't matter right now. There's still building going on, and it's the ecosystem and all the value that will be built on it from all these marketplaces, from ODL. So let's touch on ODL. How does that play a role here? It allows for continuous volume to run through the pools. And these could be any different pools. They could be, if it's just fiat and XRP, that's fine, but the arbitrage might go from XRP, BTC into that pool. So it all is like an interweb of liquidity, but it's continuous volume. We don't have to count on just speculative traders. So what does this mean? It means that liquidity providers, those who are providing liquidity, who could be using the asset too, and also want to earn and could be borrowing against the asset and providing liquidity, are able to generate a consistent revenue stream. Now we're talking, on a larger scale. Now this can be done at a smaller scale, but they're not farming rewards. The rewards are coming, the fees are coming from everybody who swaps. And I think this is interesting on the regulatory side. With the LP tokens, I've always been fascinated by. And they're a claim on both assets, 50-50 value to each other. If they're a stable coin and an asset, they're going to be equal dollar value of that asset. So you could end up with more of the token or less of the token. Like in impermanent loss, the asset would go up in value and you just wouldn't earn as much, but you would be still earning all the fees and everything like that. So impermanent loss is definitely misunderstood a little in the community, but that's all right. I think there's going to be a lot of nice applications that will be retail, DeFi focused. RippleX might not be building them, and you're not going to be able to maybe go in the same pool as RippleNet or ODL in the beginning, but it doesn't matter. The liquidity will still be connected to each other, and we get this compliance where we'll get digital identifiers, which will connect to public keys like pay string and stuff, and then your identity will be off, be able to be verified without actually showing it. So if it's the easiest to do with liquidity pools, that everyone in the pool is verified, because it's like being on Coinbase. Like anyone who trades on Coinbase, they don't know who their counterparty is, who they're trading against. It's just, they'll just do it. So basically this replaces Coinbase in some capacity. It's really, really groundbreaking how they did the arbitrage and how they use it as a governance token. So back to the LP token, it's the governance token. So each pool, so there might be an XRP BTC pool, an XRP USD pool, an XRP USDC pool, and they all have their own governance. And that really just votes on the fees. Like what fees do they charge through the pool? And obviously, whoever has more LP tokens will have more of an influence, but they're going to want what's best for, okay, we could probably make this much, and there might be a pool on another side chain that has, lower fees, and they have to stay in line, but then they have certain applications that maybe are on this side chain that are just easier to use with the side chains. It's not just like a mainnet thing only. And then you got to put like the order book at the center. Like everything connects back to the order book, because now you could trade your LP token. You don't ever got to sell liquidity. So the liquidity then doesn't have to leave the pool, and you have just payment volumes just running through. And this is why you need as many use cases. So see now, I hope everyone's getting a vision. It's not banks are going to use and that's going to shoot the price up. Like, I hope we're over that. I really hope. Like, this should be the final piece of evidence that should just smack people in the face and say, okay, I get it now. All right? But we probably won't. We'll still have people saying the Fed's going to buy something back. But no, this is seriously the secret sauce. He's telling you. You see how excited he is. In the video, he goes, he can't even speak. He goes, how excited and how powerful they think this is going to be. They spent many years working on this. And having the arbitrage, that's the one thing. Nobody could replicate this. There's not going to be a copycat of this somewhere else. I mean, I guess theoretically, Stellar, you would have to revamp the whole setup over there, though. And it's just not designed in that way. So this is something built into the payment execution flow. So say when even just a payment goes through, it will route through the order books if it's a cross-currency payment. Because remember, XRP Ledger is a currency exchange, and it's always been, and a payment network. So, I mean, that's why I always found it like just absolutely absurd that, there was ever this even thought that this could be a currency when it's inherently, has a currency exchange that trades currencies and commodities on it. natively, and it was the first to this day, I think it's just stellar, and able to hold multiple assets. So even though they're issued assets, we're going to see then the ramp up of the ecosystem come out in ways that they're going to be mind blown. I mean, there's going to be an effort made, at least. I'm not saying it's going to, be just a flick of a switch, but there's a push, and there's a lot of development at the infrastructure layer to get these amendments out, and then there's the app development. So when we say development, the Apex Summit was explosive with devs. Many of those devs, they're building applications. So things that do something that utilize the ledger or utilize the sidechains. They can have smart contracts. They could have any code. They could have sidechain could be pretty much built on Substrate. It could be built on Cosmos SDK, or it could be built on XRP Ledger. It's the bridge, the witness servers, which are like kind of Codius hosts, connecting everything together. That's kind of how you have to look at it. They're like attesters, and they attest and then verify with cryptographic signing, and it also moving the signer list up to 32 from 8 is another amendment. So there's going to be a swath of amendments, but the sidechain, the AMM, the signers list, and then hooks. But hooks will be on a sidechain first, and they'll be fully be used there. It's already on a DevNet, like it's already on its own parallel network, because that's what they are, parallel networks, and they're just going to connect now through these bridge servers. But to do that, you can't just we're going to connect everything. You have to have the layer 2 network of server nodes. Like there's so many pieces that fit into all this, and even this AMM, you can't just say, hey, we're putting this out there and it's going to all work. And it needs to be use and volume going through it, so applications that tap into it. It's a native feature that every sidechain will have. Now, sidechains most likely won't have their own DEXs, even though I think they can. They won't have their own DEX Order-Book, let me put it that way. There could be other types of DEXs built on top of this DEX on a sidechain with smart contracts. So like it gets really interesting. This is just the lowest layer. It's like having the best foundation of liquidity piping that you could possibly have. And this is built by RippleX, the same RippleX dev that's building CBDCs. So they're not private ledger. Private ledger is a sidechain. It's custom built for CBDCs, which I don't think we're going to have in the US anyway, anytime soon. The push here is maybe for stable coins going into 2023. So I'm not going to go into the regulations thing, but I have been doing a lot of research on, the political and what to expect, and not just a generic, media headlines and, what's going on. You got to get into the weeds with the politics and really what's happening. And I think that's another thing that's going to significantly surprise people when it comes. The table is being set for a future of explosive growth, explosive adoption, interoperability, and groundbreaking new financial products and liquidity services that were unimaginable just a few years ago.